Hello, boys, and welcome to the video analysis of Grange v Lions on the 15th of June 2015. This is the Sunday just gone. We travel out to Lions, very impressive facility, and to be honest, not a bad football team in the FQAL Division 3. There's some players there who I think are standouts in this particular competition. A little bit of a different format for this game. Review. I've cobbled it together with Adobe. What is it? What do they call it? Adobe Pro, whatever the hell it is. Anyway, the Adobe Movie Maker program. So I've cobbled that together to integrate the highlights, which I pre-recorded, just to try to make it a little bit shorter. No doubt it'll get better as I do this more often, but for the time being, it is what it is. So a quick look at the team sheet we had going into this. Noting Benji's first game with the side, starting from the bench, along with the two Zacks. Unfortunately, we lost Zach Mason to illness before the game, which was a bit of a problem. Left us without the ability to easily rotate our centre backs. Although I have to say, Francis deputised very strongly at centre back when he was put there, which was a refreshing surprise. Really offered a refreshing skill set in that position. Mick starting goals, Major and Cal starting centre backs, Luke Payne started at left back, Luke W started up front, Max and Ollie, two central defensive midfielders, in keeping with the strategy of having a more conservative lineup to start the game, just to see how things evolve, get a bit of an eyeball of teams, and then we can start to change the format. Most notably, usually changing to the two-cam situation. Will started on the right-hand side. I thought he had a really good game, actually, Will. I think he struggled with the physicality in many respects, but he muscled up, and he was a real force to be reckoned with. Kalen started up front. Yeah, look, I think it's difficult in attack when you're playing against strong teams like this, and I think their centre back looked like he was of African heritage. He, in my opinion, was the strongest centre back that we've come across in this competition. He's very, very strong. Really marshalled their team from the back. On the bench, we had Oscar and Zach. Cooper injured with his elbow. Keep that up and you'll go blind, Coops. And Ethan unwell due to the flu, unfortunately. So moving into the key points from the match. So in terms of shape and marking, they had an aggressive press, probably the most aggressive press that we've faced so far. I mean, I think Taringa have a very formidable press, but for some reason, I don't know whether it's because we were not at our best, but we really struggled with their press today. We talk a lot about that in the upcoming videos. I felt that we had improvement in our mid-block positional play. Mick's really getting his head around standing on the end of the 18-yard box and growing in confidence. Look, there's a lot of pressure when you do that because the simple fact of the matter is if your ball's up, it's probably going to cost a goal. So for a young goalkeeper, it's really something you have to be patient with as they develop. Okay. So, and in summary, honestly, in terms of our marking, I talk a lot about the things that we had. We had issues with the centre back positions. They were frequently too far apart and frequently allowed the striker to get inside or goal side of them. And between those two features, they led to they led to no less than 2 goals. And numerous attacking opportunities. Now, for the most part, everything was pretty good with our marking at the back. But the problem is that you don't actually have to have too much go wrong in order to concede, and that's exactly what happened in this game. So we'll pause now, and we'll go and have a look at the footage from the game, where I'll highlight these points in greater detail. All right, starting our review of match footage. So here we are at kickoff. So we'll roll through from here. You won't have audio, but I have the audio. It does add a little bit of atmosphere. So Danny goes very wide. All started quite positive. Heavy touch by Griggsy. Max on the ball. Max got swamped a lot this game. So I'm just going to roll this through to the first thing that I wanted. Awkward touch there by Will. Turns it over. So we're underway. Now, first thing we're talking about here, this goes with a penetrating pass. Shortly, bang. Okay, now the thing to highlight here, Callum, Major, Francis has had to step up. Ollie screening right here. So this is actually pretty good. However, these are the attacking players that we need to be concerned about. Everything's really looking pretty good, except Cal is not goal side of his player. If Cal's not going to be goal side of his player, then we need Madge to be goal side of his player. So Madge either needs to go over here or Cal needs to retreat and be goal side. And then Cal would be the free man. Got to talk it out because at this point in time, if Orange, and I'll use a line, if Orange managed to execute this pass, their striker has a run onto the ball. Oopsies. He has a run onto the ball and then he has a dribble and on goal. Okay, so that's something that I was highlighting there. It's important to stay goal side, and our centre back communication needs to be better. This actually gets exposed later in the game and costs us a goal. But for the time being, we'll just focus on this one. Okay, so we'll pause the recording and move to the next one. Okay, so this is the first of many goal kicks. There are a lot of goal kicks that we took. This team is a very aggressive pressing team. Okay, so we'll bring the circle up, delete that, get the circle up. So they press quite aggressively and quite well from the outset. Okay, in this situation, we have Major, we have Cal, we have one of the defensive midfielders, and I'm going to make Mick pink just because it differentiates him from the rest of them. Now, I suppose the first thing in this situation is there's absolutely no point having Major be first of all in line with Mick, and secondly, um, so close to him. So what we're better off having in this situation is Madge further away and in a more advanced position to take the touch. So then the goalkeeper pass finds Madge in this position. He then has options, okay, as we've discussed countless times, and we need to think about what these options are. It could be a pass, could be a pass wider. Okay, I think we had Luke Payne starting out there. Bearing in mind that as he moves there, what's going to happen? This chap is going to run across. This chap's going to run across. So what can happen then? Cal can move over to stay involved, so he can move into something approximating this position, so he can stay involved. Obviously, I mean, you're probably going to want Francis to maintain his width, but it gives Madge options in terms of Madge can go that way. Mick can obviously retreat back to protecting the goals, but opens up the space that allows Major to potentially, if he sees fit, pass back to Mick. Mick can then pass to Cal. Cal can then either go to Francis or he can pass in the midfield here where Will can drop in. Okay, so if Will drops into here, he can then receive the ball. So we've got plenty of options. Unfortunately, by having Madge like literally 2 meters from Mick, we lose our width, and that really negatively impedes our ability to move the ball. If we end up with the situation where this chap decides that he wants to run at Madge, then we've got the capacity to have, in this case, it's Max. Max can move over into this spot. So he moves over into here and then he can receive the ball. So the point is we can move them around a bit, but having you two 2 meters apart, it's bullshit. You're well back. So we're pinning ourselves in our own goal box. I want the centre back standing further forward. You're actually standing. Look at Cal's standing. If Cal was one step further away, he'd be off the pitch. Same with Madge. So better position here would be to have the centre backs here. Okay, and yes, it's a pass forward to them, but they can always pass back to back to Mick. But if you're passing backwards, you're just inviting them on you. I'm not sure why we ended up so defensive in this position. Anyway, we can move on to because the next one on 347 is very much the same. It's no coincidence that we conceded a goal essentially from our own goal kick by just honestly we just made a shit show of it. Okay, so once again, same problem. Madge has received the ball. Cal's out of the game. He's over here. Couldn't be further out of the game. Danny Francis is over here scratching his ass. You've got Ollie here. You've got Max here. So we've got plenty of options. Note carefully, their striker is moving and they're creeping up. They've got all these boys, so they're ready. They haven't they're still wondering how good we are at passing the ball. But in this situation, first of all, if we're further forward, then they have to start to think about what happens if we break out. Because if we're further forward, so if Mick's on the 6 yard line and then Cal and Madge are a few meters in front of him and giving us width, it opens up them to go wide. It also allows our midfielders to drop in. Max is solid on the ball. So if we've got Max and if Max drops into here, he can then receive a pass, okay? And that then gives him the potential to turn and dribble and pass out. So we've got a lot of options. And we start the game with two defensive midfielders. So we didn't really start particularly smart. It was particularly disappointing, really. So we'll then move forward to 430. So this is an example of long ball. Okay, so they get it out. He goes long now. What I'm pointing out here is the defense up front. So obviously you can see I'm starting off with the defense is where we're zeroing in. I've got Major. He's in front of Max. He's in front of the opposition striker. Cal's in behind. Now, the idea here is if we can win the ball, to try to win the ball. That's what we're ultimately wanting to do. And if we win the ball, so if we win the ball and not it forward, we're going to have most of our midfield dropping back into positions where they can win the ball. So as you can see, if we win anything and it's headed forward, big chance that we're going to win something. As it unfolds, for some reason, honestly, Madge, you're invisible there. You've literally gone from here. You've drifted back to here. The opposition striker has literally ran in front of you to where you were standing to win the ball. I'm not quite sure what we were doing there. Okay, so we'll let it roll. So he runs up, and there's two problems here. One, we've let him win the ball, really uncontested. We don't need two players on this guy to mark him. But worse still, as he wins the ball, he's allowed to bring it in and he's allowed to turn. We need to have close enough marking on this guy for him not to be able to turn. All right. So at this point in time, when he's receiving the ball, we need one of our defenders, be it Madge or Cal, it really doesn't matter, to be on him so that we're pressuring the ball, not allowing him to turn. Because if we allow him to turn, as we do, all of a sudden he's got the whole field up ahead that opens up and he can pass it out there. And the reason this happens is because we've allowed him to turn and they can see the field, they can visualize the space. So we cannot be doing that, boys. So we're going to go back now to 517. Should come up quite quickly because we don't have to go through a lot. Now, here we have, so our position here is actually not too bad. Opposition striker, look, he was a handful, this guy, no doubt. We won't come across Honestly, I think look, Toowoomba have got some really sharp strikers, but I actually think outside of Toowoomba, this guy was the strongest they have. So you can see the ball's in this guy's possession. So he's surveying his options, and we'll look at what he picks out. The thing I like is Callie's goal side. Cal stays goal side. Now, what I also like, Mick is on his 18-yard box. Okay, that's where we want him if we're pressing in a low block. He watches the ball. He commits and comes out to it and almost kicks it into Cal, but thankfully misses. Okay, so that's good. I mean, I suppose, Mick, I would think if you were, remember we talk about being at the top of the D or that little outside the box because you can always retreat to the box. There's an example of you doing that, doing it well later in the game. But for the time being, if you're that little bit further forward, it allows you to cut those balls out because a lot of them were falling just short, which are making for difficult decisions for you. But that was an example where we did pretty well. I now just want to roll. I'll roll forward from here. Now, here we have Francis on the ball. Now, Francis, this is specifically for you, mate, because it's something that I really want to work on in your game. You have all the space in the world. Okay, you've got Will down the line. Will's executing this run. He's looking for the ball. So right now, you have an easy pass down the line. The defender's not going to be able to get there. Okay, there's an easy pass down the line. You dwell on it, and then it gets cut out. So very often, I see this pattern where you just dwell on it a little bit too long, and you end up losing the opportunity. Okay, so we'll pause it there. Okay, another example. This time, Mick has taken the goal kick. He's taken it from the centre of his box, which is not a bad solution. It allows him to go both ways. Um, there's a lot to be said for going both ways. Doubles your chance of getting a date on Friday night. Um, but in this case, it gives you options. You can go left and right. We're not particularly well set up, really. I mean, everyone's back, and we've got Danny doing his thing here. Madge is going to receive the ball. Um, Unfortunately, I think in this instance, we've gone the wrong way. Like, if we have a look at where the space is, and this is probably what we need to have a look at. They got one guy here, they got this guy central. This guy's on this side, this guy, this guy, this guy. So if you count the shirts, they've got four players on one side of the pitch. They've got one in the middle and one on the other. So to me, and this is where Mick needs help from you, Cal, not to be ball watching. We need to be further forward when we're playing it out. B, the pass goes to Cal, then to Francis, and then Francis down the line, and we've escaped because they've figured us out by this stage. We're 8 minutes in, or 7 minutes, well, in the eighth minute of the game, and they've figured out that we only go left through major. So we'll see how this unfolds. Madge gets the ball, goes out wide, gets Ollie involved. Now that was probably a better idea would have been to try to pass or cut back because you've got two players on you. You're at a hiding to nothing. This guy's effectively unmarked. Cal needs to step up and take him, or Max. Cal really needs to step up and take this guy. So in this situation, with all this going on, where we're about to turn over possession, Cal, you need to be making moves to step up and get this bloke. So from here, you don't need to necessarily run right up to him, but you need to make sure you've got him in such a position where you can shut down his space because Major's committed to the ball. I suppose in that situation, Major, you need to drop. But anyway, we've made a mess of that. In my opinion, I think it's largely because we went the wrong way. So it was becoming apparent by this point that getting the ball out from the back was problematic. They were pressing aggressively, but I got to be honest, we weren't making it particularly easy on ourselves. So we are still recording. That's good. Okay, so in this instance, same situation. We've got Mick. He's on the 25-yard box. Notice Major is quite wide. Cal has his back to the play. We'll see how it rolls. Okay, so here we are. Haven't taken the kick yet. So same situation. Madge is wider. So this is good. So we're starting to learn. But the option here would be to go to the right. Okay, so to go to Cal. Because once again, if we have a look at how they're set up, this guy's in the middle. One, two, three, four. Four of them are on one side. One of them's on the other side, and this guy wasn't, as I recall, the most mobile. So, Cal, I sometimes criticize you for ball watching, and these are times when you're ball watching. You're actually more vocal in this game in many other aspects of the game, but this is where we need you to be vocal. So here, you need to identify this and be screaming for the ball, because in terms of getting it out this side, if we get the pass from Mick, so if Mick finds you, we can then expect that their striker is going to try to close you down. This guy's going to try to come over here. You then have the options. Pass to Francis. Francis has the pass to Will down that way. You can obviously step up and receive the ball, but we've escaped. We've gone around them. Okay? Let's see how it unfolds. Nope, we go back to the same old direction. So we played straight into the bulk of their attack. So for whatever reason, we've dummied going the right way, and then we've gone the wrong way. Why is it the wrong way? This guy has now he's shut the gate. So we can't go back to the right. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys pressing on that side. So we just passed into the teeth of their press. We've done this a couple of times. I pointed out a couple of these goal kicks, and every time we've gone into the teeth of their press. Okay, so we'll let it play. Fortunately, in this instance, Danny drops in to save us, but that's not an example of a good press. We'll cover attacks later on because we're about this sequence is about to roll into an attack. Now we're going to go forward to 11:30. We're going to have a talk about long ball defense. So in this one, okay, so here we are. What I like, okay, this is their striker. He's a handful. This is their winger. He's a handful. This guy's getting away from Max a tiny bit, but it's not a massive issue. Major's here. Cal's got this guy, which is good. Quite like that. Major, you need to be over here. You need to be closer to the action. So you need to get your ass over here because at the moment you're too far away. You can't shut this guy. You can't shut this guy down because if you're in this position here, this guy has to run. Even if he gets away from Max, you can cover him if he goes that way. Okay, because Max is trying to gather his ground, and if the striker beats Cal somehow, he manages to dribble around him. You can then cut across and intervene, okay, which is a good thing. So this was a problem we had, much too big a gap between our centre backs in this attacking instance. If we want to see how the impact that has, we'll play through. So the attacker, he's got the vision to see that and play this guy into the gap. Now, as it turns out, it was a poor pass. Now, Mick, well, what do you need? Do you need a written invitation? So a couple of things. We'll just go back because I was concentrating on other things. So they're going to bring it out. They go up to the Big Bopper. Big Bopper is 1-2. Really neat little 1-2. They did. That's a really good pass to find that there. Now, Mick, you're in approximately the right position. Like I said, in this situation, I'd probably prefer to be even on the line or maybe even a fraction beyond it because you can always retreat. Okay, and that means you can either come out. You can either come out and claim, or you can claim out here. Now, if we look at as the pass unfolds, you run backwards. So you're running back away from the goal. In this situation, Madge can put a body on this guy, Cal can put a body on this guy, and you can come out and claim. You've got so much time that Major can actually hold it up and give you time to run out. So what I'm saying is we need more aggression from you. You need to want that ball and dominate your box more. So good positional play there, Mick, because you're on your 18 yard line. But we need more from you in terms of determination to come forward and claim that ball. So now we'll go forward to 12, 19. Once again, we've given their striker way too much time on the ball. Way too much time. But it goes through this guy. What are you doing, bro? I'm just going to pause it to make sure I've got the right foot. Not. Yeah. So the point of this one was we cannot allow their striker to turn. Okay. Because if he turns, he can scope forward, he can pick passes moving forward. So we're moving forward now to another goal kick. Mick puts the ball down. Now notice in this instance, I would argue Mick has gone the right way. Okay. So he has recognized that on this side of the pitch, we've got Cal, we've got Francis, we've got Will, we've even got Max. Whereas the press, the press is all over here. Okay, they're expecting us to go to the right. So the way that we play this out, ball goes to Cal. Cal go Cal goes to Francis. Francis plays Will to the line, and we escape. Okay, so from there, Will can run a 1-2, and he can either run down or he can receive the ball and we can get an overlapping pass from Francis. Obviously, Cal comes up to support. So this is what we're trying to do. Cal dwells on the ball way too long, way too long. The key to that escaping is getting moving the ball quickly. Yeah, that's a problem. So we've gone back, but and I like the changing side, but it wouldn't have been necessary if we just moved the ball faster. Okay, and there's also when their press is activated, passing across the face of goal can be problematic, and we will obviously see an example of what happens when we do that a little bit later in the video. So we now move forward to 1950. All right, so this is a good example of it was it just really ineffective. So we've got Callum here, we've got Zach here, we've got who is that? I think it might be Oscar. We've got all the midfield spread out through here, but they've got no one in this space of the field. Okay. So why we would put up a midfield bomb is ridiculous. The option there is to pass to Cal, pass to Zach, and Zach can either drive. I mean, Zach can drive from there, and Oscar can support. So Zach could even drive. Um, Oscar can come in. He can post. Okay, presumably his defender's going to come with him. Zach can come with him. Oh, for God's sake! So Zach can execute his run. So he can run. He can run around this way, and Oscar can actually effect a pass that way for Zach to run onto and escape because we've got heaps of space to work on and you're going to have a 2-on-1. Like, honestly, you should be able to exploit a 2-on-1 really easily. Instead, we've turned that attacking opportunity into a midfield bomb. All momentum's lost, becomes a lottery, you know, and we will pause it there because I don't want to get into attacking in this section of the video. We will do that later on. So we now move forward to 21:31, and it's yet another analysis of escaping at the back. Okay, so this will be a goal kick. Mick will wander over, pick it up. We're setting up once again. Centre backs need to be further forward, getting good width from the left and right backs. We've got the defensive midfielders. We go over to Cal. Now, okay, so in this situation, Cal, um, the option would have been to simply let the ball roll. Okay, because if you let the ball roll from Mick, and if you let the ball roll, you can then turn, follow it, and then pass it out to Zach. Okay. And then from Zach, he's got space, he's got time, he can dribble. Sorry, he can run, he can pass, he can dribble. He's got options because he's got the space. Instead, passing it back to Mick puts Mick under a truckload of pressure. You had time, you had space, just turn on the ball. Worst comes to worst, if you think this guy's on you, you can just kick it out of play. But um, kicking it to Mick, now, Mick's in a world of hurt now. This guy's running in on him. He's got this guy's got a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. This guy's turning in. This guy's going to start coming this way. So it really is a hospital pass. Striker here, striker here. This guy can come over to here to cut out your outlet pass. So it's the definition of a hospital pass. Really, really not the decision that we needed in that situation. Mick knows he's under pressure. Predictably, that's a really poor touch. You can create a better. You're better with the ball at your feet than that, Mick. Furthermore, you're wide of the posts. If you were that worried, honestly, mate, you could have just turned your back and kicked the ball out. Like it's safety first in these situations. If you're under that kind of pressure, give them a corner, bugger it. But as it turns out, yep, they score, bang. So that was really disappointing. Really disappointing way to concede for mine because I thought our play up until that point had warranted considerably better. However, it was always on the cards, particularly the way we're setting up. Like we're standing our centre backs behind the goalkeeper. We're begging them to come and press us. So we're getting our centre backs behind the goalkeeper. We're continuously going to the wrong side. Do you know what I mean? It's a real. It's really not we're hoping not what we're hoping for. So we'll then go forward to 24:51. Okay, so we'll roll it through. There's where I want it now. Cal. So these are the options. These are the attackers. There's really no. I mean, look, there's not a hell of a lot on. This guy has made an inside run and he's managed to slip. So this bloke has made that he's made that kind of run, which has got him on the inside and the goal side running. Now, Major, and this is both of our centre backs were out of position at various times of the game. But Major, in this instance, you need to be over here. You need to be here. You need to be closer to the play. You're too far away from it. You need to slide laterally because you're doing nothing there. If you're here, you can cover that. We've got Luke over there. He can run in and cover the middle, but you need to be helping out. This guy's a handful. He's one of the strongest strikers that we've seen in this comp so far. So play. Now, Cal, this guy's goal side of you. So you've let him get goal side. Major, you're not really affecting the play at all over here. Now, to make matters worse, so Cal, you've turned your body away from this guy, okay, which allows him to basically nutmeg you. Um, Look, you're desperately unlucky because the truth of the matter is, um, you shouldn't really have been nutmeg. 9 times out of 10, that's going to kick off your boots, and this won't eventuate. But it has, and that's happened because you were side on running away from the ball. What you needed to be doing was keeping your feet closer together, sliding, preferably trying to recover your position to get inside the striker again. Madge, you need to be coming over more directly and getting involved in that play. So we need to work on the gap between our centre backs much, much more when we're out of position. Now he's pretty quick. That's a decent ball. He's gone through. Cal's out of the play. Major comes across. Um, so Major's recovering. Does a pretty good job there. Gets his arm in there. This guy grabs your shirt. You execute a slide because the guy's got you covered. Mix got it. Mick got into a reasonably good scoring position. Major's unable to affect the challenge, and Mick's down. He's in possession. Now you move again. I think that was a problem. You're in position. What you have to do is stay still and make the attacker make a decision by moving. And you've moved that way. What he's recognised, this guy's no slouch. All right. Um, what he's recognised is with you here, as soon as you reposition and your momentum is carrying you this way, he's going to cut back. That just allows him to cut this way because he knows you're going that way. He's got the ball on his right foot. So if he cuts that way, then he's going to be able to effect a save. Really, in that situation, what you need to do is you need to what's called walk the line, basically. So you draw a line between where you are and the attacker. And if you're going to move, you walk the line. Okay. Oh, for the love of God. So your approach is to walk the line. So you walk towards the striker and make him beat you. By moving that way, you've contributed to making it easier for him to beat you because you've ran that way. You're still moving. He cuts back, and all you can do is despairingly throw a foot out. He strolls around you, and that's game. So disappointing because we've started really brightly within a short space of time. We've gone to conceding two goals. We've gone to conceding two goals. And look, these guys are a well organized team. So it was always going to be tough to come back from 2-0. We created plenty of opportunities, but you know you can't afford to be giving teams, especially teams that've got some quality in them, these opportunities. So this next bit is defending off a long ball. Okay. All right. So once again, their strikers here. Who's marking this prick? Like, which of you are marking this guy? Because in this situation, you clearly neither of you are talking. Major's running backwards. Cal's running backwards. Um, so this guy's just strolled forward. He's receiving the ball, and then he turns. Now we're lucky in that instance because Max is coming back, and Max manages to get a foot in. One of you needs to be marking him and not allowing him to turn. You communicate as to who it is, but as soon as they kick a long ball to him, someone's got to mark the striker. You can't just go running back and both cover space. Someone's got to play the man, and you've got to talk about it. So one or the other of the centre backs in that situation has to mark the player. The other person can mark the space, probably on the inside. All right. So it's great for the striker. He's like, God, I'm having a day out here. They give me all the time and space in the world. So we'll move on next. This is another goal kick. Okay, so once again, the point that I was wanting to illustrate off here. Okay, so notice now, they've started to notice that we're very likely going to go both ways. So now look, in this situation, don't go straight to Francis. Okay, Francis has got to come running back to get the ball. The option there is to go to Cal. Okay, and then that's what's going to create the space. There's really not that much that we need to be worried about at this point in time in this situation. But Mick, you need to pass to Cal. Cal can then pass to Francis. If this guy's not there, it may be that he passes up there. He passes in there to Max if Max is obliging and going to do the run. So Max comes into here, but that's the pass going directly to Francis. It takes Cal out of the game, and it allows them to double up the press over there. So go to Cal, and then Cal quickly goes to Francis, As it turns out, by the time Francis gets the ball, he's got someone on him. Now, in this situation, Francis, and this is where I talk, this is where you need to move the ball quickly. So, quick touch. So, what you need to be doing here is a quick touch, and then you execute a pass down the line. All right. That's what you need to do for Zach to run over and get involved. So, that's what you need to be doing. Let's see how it works out. Yeah, you just sit on a little bit too long. Now we get away with that because they carried the ball over the line, but just patience there, Mick. Just go through the feet, go to Cal, and then Cal goes over to Francis. Excuse me. So we now move up to another goal kick, 34-15. There's a lot of goal kicks that we've got to talk about here because honestly, it was the weakest part of our game, getting out from those goal kicks. It was really, really, really quite surprising. It kind of made me wonder whether or not they were a really good pressing team or whether we have been a little bit delinquent. Okay, so the ball's gone out. In fact, it might even been an offside. Okay, so what options have we got? Okay, let's have a look. What do we got? We've got Francis where Francis should be. Far out. Francis where Francis, Cal where Cal should be. Still standing way behind Cal. Be up here, mate. You know what I mean? Like be up here because then you pose it. Then you pose a threat. Okay, because we can quickly escape from there. We've got players all there, but if we have a look, where's their press? One, two, three, four, five, six. Why on God's red earth we would choose to go left to try to pass through six of their players when we could just as easily boom, 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 boom. We've got so many options out to the right hand side. Admittedly, in defensive Mick, it's very difficult to not get tunnel vision when you're in goals. Okay, and that's exactly what's happening in this instance. So let's see how it unfolds. We go to Major, bang, he's immediately pressed, goes out, and we're immediately shut down. They've got four players emerging. You're not going to want to go back. Their strikers cutting out the pathway to goal. It's a goal. It's good to see Cal's coming over to get engaged and involved, but and lo and behold, they win the press and they turn it into an attacking opportunity. We're lucky that Max manages to intervene because I think throughout this game we saw many instances and examples of why these boys are playing in Division 3 and not Division 1 because some of them are pretty handy, but they've obviously got subtle flaws in their game. It's another goal kick that we're coming up to next. So Mick's got the ball. Now notice, okay, you're there. So where are they? Where are the opportunities? They're the questions that we need. Now Mick preferentially always goes over to Major. I like the fact that we have space now. So we've learned on the job per se. Okay. Griggsy's dropping in to try to help out because, by this stage it was becoming obvious that we were having difficulty getting out of our area. But where are the players? So this guy's here, their striker's there. He's going to move in to here and try and shut out the capacity for us to switch directions. Okay. And then we're going to have a look at where their press is. They haven't actually got that heavy a press in this instance. This is their press. Okay, so it should be easy enough to go out that way. But still, it's really easy going out to the left hand side. I'm wondering whether or not it's because you're a natural right footer, Mick. So therefore, to pass to your left, you've got to kind of walk around the ball and pass that way. So Madge is there, dwells on the ball a bit long. So when we cost ourselves time, okay, it allows them to execute their, like, see how that movement out wide there was quite slow. So we're not really asking their press to make any decisions. And as you can see, they're pretty much, they're encircling the ball. And this is what we've got. Okay, Cal's running over because he's got to cover the striker. We do have options down the line. So the early option down the line would be a good option. Let's see how it unfolds. Gets cut out, turned over, and we've not been successful in getting out. Okay, so Getting out from the back was a problem in this game. We'll need to sort it out because I'm not convinced that Taringa are any. I'm not convinced that Taringa are a worse team than these blokes, and that will be a big game on the weekend, Taringa for us. We won't have Francis, since Francis is a significant out for us. I believe we'll probably have Kalen, albeit perhaps late. Okay, so ball drop. I'm not going to put the circles in place. Mick's dancing around doing not much, and then he ultimately goes back to the right hand side, which all the players are. Um, so now Major, you're taking a lot of time, way too much time, like way too much time on the ball here. And as you can see, all that allows them to do is close the net. So the longer you've dribbled the ball without passing the ball, it just closes the net. We've got to move it quickly, particularly if you're facing a good trap. They've won the ball and they're on the counter attack. So we really need to crispen this up. Hopefully, we can organise some time to practice this a little bit more because we were rubbish on Sunday. Um, so we'll now move forward to yet another goal kick. Yes, the goal kicks keep coming fast and furious. Another one. So again, okay, this time we go to what I think's the correct way. Move the ball quickly, Cal. Good, and line quickly, Francis. Good work. Awful touch by Oscar. Um, awful Oscar, awful touch by Oscar. Ball bounces off him. Um, but that is exactly what we want because in that situation, if Oscar does manage to execute a good first touch, turn on the ball, he can open up the middle of the pitch because we've got Max coming over as CDM. We've got Danny coming over as our attacking midfielder at the time because we're 36 minutes in. So we had plenty of options. Unfortunately, that touch goes straight to the opposition and we've turned it over. So these things happen. So that's 38.57. Or was it? No, that was 38.07. So now we go to 38.57. Now this is, and the reason I put this up there. Oh no, that was 53.37. I put that one in there because it's a much better example of what we want to try to accomplish by Francis. So well done, Francis. You've got that pass away earlier. So we just need to do that from the start. Quickly move the ball when we're trying to do that. In this situation, now we go to 64. So we're in the second half. It's a goal kick. So 64-34. Now, in this situation, okay, so I'm going to pause it there. What I wanted to highlight from the outset is Mick is where we want him. Okay. He's up. He's a little beyond his 18-yard box. The good thing about that is they have recognized this, and this chap has executed a big diagonal pass. Now Mick's not going to be able to get to that because he's in line, which is where he should be. They obviously have this guy who the pass is intended for. The attacker's done a good job of staying on side. Um, Centre backs have been caught out. Luke's got plenty of speed, so he's probably more space than what he would like to intend. So let's see how this unfolds. Mix on the 18-yard box, so he's got lots of time to recover. Falls back to his 6-yard box. Now, if this guy could potentially have chipped him from here, um, that can happen. And if he's good enough, you know what? Good luck to him. So that I put that in there to highlight good positional play from Mick. We now go forward to 76-33. I say 76-33 just pretty much for my own benefit. So as you can see, we're now later in the second half. So we've kind of started figuring it out. But I think the other thing you've got to take into account is the opposition. We're 2-0 down at this point in time. We're threatening them occasionally. So this is a goal kick. Now this is an example of what I felt was good play. Okay, just fucking go one way or the other, Mick. Just it's silly. Um, so in this situation, honestly, this is where Cal, we would prefer you to be here rather than behind Mick, because when Mick executes the pass to you from there, so he executes the pass to you there, we're going to have our right back there. So, and then your pass, Cal, goes to there, and then we can escape. Okay? Because there's one defender. We have literally got a 2-on-1 here. All right. All we need to do is move the ball astutely, and we can exploit that 2-on-1. Because this bad boy, he's got to come to the ball. If he decides to go this way, then one of our CDMs can execute the ball because Ollie can move over to bloody hell. Ollie can move over to here, receive the ball, and then he can distribute. He can play it down the wing for Luke to run onto. So let's see how it unfolds. Goes to Cal. Goes there. Lukey Payne. Unfortunately, not the pass that Luke W was after. But that's what we're trying to do, okay? Like, if it's better executed, yeah, admittedly, it's getting later in the game. 62 minutes in, a little bit of frustration, some tired legs. It can happen. So this here is an example for Mick specifically. Um, and this is just about awareness as a goalkeeper of where you are, owning your box, using your box. Excuse me. Okay, so here's the ball. Ball's come through. Mick, you are in the right position. That's where we want you. I mean, maybe even a little bit further forward because the ball was in the other half, but you're there, okay? And you've identified the ball and you've come out to it. So that's good. Bloody give me a circle, you bastard. Thank you. So you've come out, you've come to the ball's coming through. You run out now. At this point in time, you're picking up the ball, Mick, and this is where, and everyone can help him out with this. In this situation, mate, just let the ball roll back to the box and pick it up, or dribble the fucking thing into the box and pick it up. But the point of the story is, you don't need to just have, like a midfield bomb in that situation. Walk back, get the ball in your hands. You've got greater control with the ball in your hands. You can throw it. You can kick long. You can do a whole bunch of things. As it is, it's just a midfield bomb. If that guy controls it, doesn't really matter because he does. But the point of the story is, the better option there, grab the ball, like just dribble it back into your box, pick it up. I just wanted to point out that you can do that. You've got the right to do that as a goalkeeper. So definitely do that. Now, we're now going to go forward to another goal kick. Now, we're well into the goal. We're well into it here. So there's really nothing doing. Honestly, we should pretty easily be able to play out of this. At this stage of the game, they had a lot of defenders. They had a lot of defenders back. Luke, you're well out of position, mate. You need to be out here. Not sure why you're there. Um, and if that's the case, we've got the width. Whoops. So this is it. So we've got 1, 2, 4. We've got a 7-on-4. We should be able to play through this with relative ease. We just need to move the ball quickly. Goes to Francis. Now, at this point in time, honestly, Francis, they've effectively created a 2-on-2, and this is where we need to use our words, and we can support each other. Because if you have a look, you've got this. You're going to be going out to Danny. You've got Griggsy coming across to try to help out, but you've got a 2-on-2. All right, it's a 2-on-2. This guy's over here. He's doing fuck all. What we need now is a call, and we need a call for Francis to play it back to Mick. And then we've got the situation where Mick could play it direct to Griggsy. He could play it through Cal, who can then play it wide to Luke, who can then go down the line. We've got heaps of options. And the reason why we've got heaps of options is because if you pass it back, okay, stop, pass back, we then have a 1, 2, 3, 4-on-1, okay, or maybe 4-on-2. But the point is, we've got numbers in our favour. And that's what we're wanting. So in this situation, Francis needs a call from you, Mick. or anyone really, just to not be ball watching and going, oh shit, that's going to be awkward. Say something, say check, back, 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 or whatever. We can practice all of this hopefully come training. So there you go. Nothing ball in the midfield, turns over, could easily have turned into a goal. And that's an even worse clearance. Now we're lucky here that that shot gets blocked. Could have easily been a goal. And honestly, against a half decent side, it would have been a goal. Do, 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 do. It's another goal kick, goal kick. Not going to put the lines up on this one. We're just going to talk it through. Goes to Cal. Now, this is actually, I'm going to put the lines on this one because they have pressed harder on here. I think by this point in time, they'd kind of got the impression that Cal might have been a little bit susceptible to the press. We do need to work on your first touch, Cal, because your first touch is traditionally very heavy. Makes you a good tackler, but it doesn't play to your advantage. It doesn't play to your advantage in this situation. So they've effectively got one, two, two. So they've effectively got a one, two, three, four on four. Not ideal. Okay. Better option in this situation would have been go out to the right hand side. So we need to get better at counting, basically counting the numbers. Luke goes wider, tries to cut down the line, tries to beat his man. Not quite the option. I think fatigue was starting to become a bit of a factor at this point in time. There's a couple of not ideal moments from you at the back there. Luke W. Going forward to 86-23. So that's going to be a goal kick. After this, we've got the goal, and then we're going to look at some attacking stuff as we get further through the presentation. Nope, it's a goal kick. Come on, sort it out, boys. And that looks like Major. Might have been Major there instead of Cal, actually. There you go. Bang. Goes over to Cal. Cal receives the ball. Now he's got options up ahead. Dwelling on it a long time, but well done. Max goes over to link up at CDM, and this opens into an attack. Um, good work. Good work on the dribble. Good option to spot the pass. Max is generally quite safe on the ball. So that's good play. I'm happy enough with that. We now go forward to 87-40. Now, this is the play leading up to the second goal. The third goal. So now earlier I was talking about spacing between our centre backs. This is a good example. There's a bunch of things wrong with this. Their attacking plays, you've got the ball carrier, you've got this guy, you've got their striker, you've got their winger. Don't know where this guy bobbed up from, but he was very, very handy. We can't see Mick yet, although you can see on the radar that he's where he should be. Probably I would be happier if he was a little bit further forward. This guy's been able to turn and scope the situation. Issues major, you need to be further back. You need to be blocking this guy's run or goal side of him. Let him run into the space and push him wide. That's perfectly fine. Cal, you're too far over. You need to be coming. You need to have dropped. You need to have recognised this and moved over into this position if Major's going to be the free player there. So they're two mistakes that we've made, minor positional mistakes. Majors, he's only missing this guy by a meter or so, but you're still missing him. Cal, you should be closing that space down. Play it over. Major, you haven't recovered. I'm not sure. You need to be getting a call to drop. Cal, you need to be rushing in to cover this guy's run. Cal, you're ball watching. There's no two ways about it. You're ball watching. You're having no part in this play whatsoever. Major, you're out of position. You haven't got a call. You haven't recovered. Major gets chipped. Okay, Cal, you might as well not bother running, mate, because you're just so far removed from the play. It's not funny. Gap between the centre backs, too much, far too much. Now, Mick, you are currently well inside your 18-yard line. We needed you on your 18-yard line. You've dropped and you've come back in. That always causes you trouble. Then you've gone, oh no, I've got to come up. At this point, you really need your feet together. You need to be making yourself strong. And it looks as though you need to be attacking the ball and booting it. As it turns out, I don't think you get a touch on it at all, and he scores. So, yeah, and you're shaking your head and carrying on. But that's just honestly from top to bottom in that final goal of theirs. They're minor mistakes, but minor mistakes, if they're done consistently, will cause problems. And the mistakes there were major. You're not goal side. Cal too far away. Mick on the 18-yard line. You've dropped and then you've come forward. And then when you've got to the point where you've had to recover, you needed to make yourself big. You needed to attack the ball. If you boot the ball into the striker, it's going to go who knows where. As it turns out, I don't know whether you hit the ball at all. It just sort of rolled between your legs. So that was a really ugly, disappointing goal. Um, anyway, we've probably uh, done that bit to. I think he struggled with the physicality in many respects, but he muscled up and he was a real force to be reckoned with. Uh, Kalen started up front. Yeah, look, I think it's difficult in attack when you're playing against strong teams like this, and I think their centre back looked like he was of African heritage. He, in my opinion, was the strongest centre back that we've come across in this competition. He's very, very strong. Really marshalled their team from the back. On the bench, we had Oscar and Zach. Cooper injured with his elbow. Keep that up and you'll go blind, Coops. And Ethan unwell due to the flu, unfortunately. So moving into the key points from the match. So, in terms of shape and marking, they had an aggressive press, probably the most aggressive press that we've confronted, that we've faced so far. I mean, I think Taringa have a very formidable press, but for some reason, I don't know whether it's because we were not at our best, but we really struggled with their press today. We talk a lot about that in the upcoming videos. I felt that we had improvement in our mid-block positional play. Mick's really getting his head around standing on the end of the 18-yard box and growing in confidence. Look, there's a lot of pressure when you do that because the simple fact of the matter is if your ball's up, it's probably going to cost a goal. So for a young goalkeeper, it's really something you have to be patient with as they develop. Okay, so and in summary, honestly, in terms of our marking, I talk a lot about the things that we had. We had issues with the centre back positions. They were frequently too far apart, and frequently allowed the striker to get inside or goal side of them. And between those two features, they led to they led to no less than two goals and numerous attacking opportunities. Now, for the most part, everything was pretty good with our marking at the back. But the problem is that you don't actually have to have too much go wrong in order to concede. And that's exactly what happened in this game. So we'll pause now and we'll go and have a look at the footage from the game where I'll highlight these points in greater detail. Jesus. Okay. So, um, patience in attack. There's a lot of video that we're going to talk about with patience in attack. we've been showing recently, we've been showing some real progress in our capacity to work through teams. We are a stronger attacking side when we play the ball through teams. When we try to go long ball, it doesn't work as well for us, predominantly because we don't have the speed up front to outstrip defenses. And that really hurts you if you decide you want to play long ball, pumping it up. We also don't have, a big bookend up the front who can win the ball in those physical contests. Uh, Nonetheless, we created many opportunities throughout the game. There are a couple of occasions there where the ball just would not go in. We had an offside goal cancelled out. We had some passages of really positive attacking play. I felt that we're starting to see some benefits from the drills that we do where if the box gets congested, we just back it out, create the space, draw the defenders out, and then attack once we've created the space. But overall, in attack, I felt that we were consistently too direct throughout the game, and that's something that we need to work on. So we'll now look at the match footage where we can go through these points in greater detail. Okay, boys, looking at analysing the attacking highlights or lowlights, depending on how you want to look at it, from the fixture against the Lions. Lions. Okay. So in this situation, Will, you've got space, you've got a bit of time. This is a really good attacking opportunity. You've worked hard to get into this position. Okay, admittedly, we do have, I think it's Kalen in the middle, but you've got to beat at least two defenders to get there. Now we can see you don't have a lot of support behind you, which is an issue. And I'm judging this by the map up the top. Okay, you can see from the top map. But in this situation, what I think would be a better option would be for you to dribble a bit longer. Okay, and especially if you can dribble it any closer to goal. Obviously, you can judge where the defender is, and then you've got the option of either kicking to here, a cutback, or potentially even trying to look at something to the far post. Obviously, Kalen's going to be trying to execute runs to here, but it could be that the far post run with Luke over on the other side is an option as well. The other thing is that the deeper you dribble, the more it gives our cams and other supporting players an opportunity to penetrate. As it turns out, and it may be that it was the best option, but you've gone really aggressive and it gets really simply cut out. Now, look, I'll roll it through to be flattering to you because you've come through and stole the ball really well. Probably rushed it a little at this point in time. And in this situation, geez, I was disappointed Luke didn't hit that first time with his left foot because it was begging for it. And at 3 minutes 20 in, could have changed the context of time. We're going to go to 5:55. This is another attacking opportunity. Now, what I wanted to point out, I'm going to take it back a tiny bit because I'm always banging on and I don't about pace. Pace. So, speaking of pace, the computer's taking its sweet time. Oh my God. Okay, so here we go. So they're running over now. Look at this. So at this point in time, okay, we are looking at a foot race. We've got Kalen. We've got who is that? Kalen, Luke Payne, Will. I think it's Luke W on the ball. And Luke W is going to hit a long ball. So I want you to have a look at where everybody is because everybody's got a clean run at the ball, okay? Including the defenders, including the attackers. So let's start bang, races on. Ball goes long. This guy's rounded. I mean, you've got rounded up really, really quickly. So that's the perils of going long. In that situation, I'd defend it because I think it was the best attacking option. It was probably the only attacking option that you had in that moment. But we're a better team when we play through sides, Okay, and most of these examples of attacking play are going to be highlighting when we could have done that. So this is actually a good pass into space. You can see Kalen's running into that, and what that is just an example of honestly this boy they had at the back. He's very handy. Like he was rock solid at the back there. And if you get a rock solid centre back like that that can clean most things up, you have to play through him. Okay, you can't. You're unlikely to beat him with long balls. He's going to win them all day long. So you got to play through him and get numerical advantages, little 1-2s, where you can actually defeat him that way. Because just hitting long balls in his direction is unlikely to beat him. And you just give him an easy day at the office because he will soak that up all day long. So this is an example of what I felt was a poor pass. I felt we should have used the width. Um, where da, 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 da. Where are we? 732, 727. Might go back a fraction more then, eh? Let's go back to 719. Okay, there. This is exactly what I was looking for. So, one problem. Okay, we've got players here. We've got Max here. I would prefer to see in this situation, I think it might be Francis. I'd be happier if you were a bit further out. Okay, we're in possession. Give us the width. But what we can do in this situation, we've got Max out to Francis, use the width, stretch the park, because at the moment, the problem we've got is they're very tight in defence. You know, they've got plenty of bodies back. And we talk about this when we're playing these little drills at training at Somerville, whatever the hell it's called, of Hills. Look at all these shirts. You know, you got to try to get through that. There's plenty of space out wide. And if you get the ball out wide, you then draw them out of position. And what does that do? That creates space. Okay, so in this situation, I think we just go way too direct. I don't know. I mean, I think that pass was intended for Will. So we've cut out midfield and left back and gone straight to the striker. It's just not. It's just too aggressive. It's a really low percentage option. So we're now going to go forward to 9:59. Okay, we have this. This is a good attacking position. Okay, we've got the ball here. I think the ball was at Luke's feet. Luke's really at a period of rapid acceleration. Okay, in terms of his development. So I think you've got Kalen in there, perhaps. But what the problem we have is we've got plenty of defenders in attendance. They've got their whole back four. I think that might be Luke Payne, but we've got Max here. The passing options are as follows. Kalen, you drop into space to receive the ball. Okay? That creates all sorts of opportunities. It gives you the opportunity to potentially pass to Max. Okay? Because Max is trying to get involved in the play. You can see him working really hard to catch up. So Max is going to run up to here. So boom, over to there. And then we can open up the field. That gives Will the opportunity to create space out here, can give Francis the opportunity to create space and break down the right-hand side. So we have options. Kalen, drop in, win the ball. Their backline's going to start and they're going to stop. Or it may end up becoming broken and staggered, which makes it easier to play through. Okay. But at this point in time, we've got a 4-on-2, and Kalen, you've got a 3-on-1. So, mate, it's going to be hard to get anything out of that. Max is sprinting through the guts, so use him because we get the ball to Max, and all of a sudden, all bets are off because Max gets the ball. A defender's got to leave the line to come and mark him, and then we can create space. So we've got, things are doing really well, but we are running away. And the more time we spend running away from the ball, the more opportunities we're leaving. And now we've kind of lost momentum. Luke has lost the capacity to pass because one of the defenders has dropped in to defend him, and now he's in a one-on-one situation. It's going to be very difficult to pass, and we turn over the ball. So, and look, don't get me wrong, Luke, you're scrapping really well for the ball there. But what you needed was for Kalen to drop in, or you needed to compose the pass and find Max in the middle. So that was my feedback on that particular attacking opportunity. Because we if we can exploit these opportunities, we create them we create them consistently. If we can exploit them, we will trouble any team. Once again, so here we are. Will has won the ball. He's turned. Will, hopefully you're listening to this. You had a really good game, mate. I was most proud of the way you stood up physically because you've been fading from the physicality with bigger bodies. You don't have to, mate. And honestly, you watch Benji, you will see how much you don't have to because, mate, that kid weighs about 25 kilograms. Um, so in this situation, you've got plenty of options. You've got the pass to Danny, and that then allows you to continue your run. And then Danny can look to link up. Francis on the outside. There's the option to cut in and pass to Francis, and then Francis exploits the part, exploits the space. But we've got plenty of attacking options. Goes to Danny. Danny, you needed to go to the ball there and get possession rather than run away from the ball and wait for it. As it turns out, you've just allowed the. Oh, is that? That might have been Benji. Anyway, you needed to go to the ball and win the ball. And then it just becomes a little bit of basketball. We don't need to watch that. So we now go to 15-10. So this is first half, nil all. We're creating opportunities. Well, we're creating half opportunities. We're just choosing not to really exploit them. Great opportunity there. I mean, that if that ball, I really like the use of the space. See how dangerous we are when we play through teams. Okay, rather than just go long, but when we play through teams, we're really, really dangerous. If I think it might be Benji can get his foot around that, this goal is at his mercy. As it turns out, had a little bit too much. Was it Benji or Will? I can't really tell. But in any case, really good opportunity. So that's an opportunity to take the lead, boys. We create plenty of opportunities when we play football. When we play long ball, we're a bit shit, quite frankly, because we don't have a heap of speed. Long ball, football is what teams like Coomera play because they've got nothing else. They just bang it up into the mixer, see what happens. Because, if you throw enough shit at the wall, sometimes some of it will stick. Here's another example. Okay, we've got the ball. But what I want to point out is what's everybody doing? Everyone is running away from the ball as quick as they can. So what we need to be doing, let me move that over there. That's the previous. Okay, good. Just saving the previous video footage. So what we need is someone to drop in. In this situation, Benji, what I'd much prefer to see you do, I think it is you, Benjamin. I would much prefer to see you. You are good on the ball. You are fast on the ball. You're a handful. I would much rather prefer to see you drop in, receive the ball, okay? Because that's going to open up some. It's far out. Give me a circle, please. That's going to open up space. It can then allow these boys to join the attack with runs, run into space, can allow Will to run into space, and we can exploit them by using the ball better. As it turns out, if we go long ball, there's every likelihood they'll cut it out. And if they don't cut it out, they're probably going to mass because they've got numbers on the ball. Boom, cut out. And that's that. So that was what could have been an exciting opportunity. We didn't make much of it. It happens. So this is an example I put in here. We need to use the width. Okay, so this is Oscar's on the pitch. Oscar's playing right wing. Now I put this in the team group. So Oscar, you are right wing. what I want to point out, and this is a really good example of it. So you are here, young man. You are the right winger. Okay. So what I want you to do is be out here. Because if you're out here, notice with you being there, one, two, three. What are you going to do against three defenders, mate? Not much. Okay. If you're out here straight away, this guy, whoa, this bloke has to be out there or at least move out there. Okay. And what does that do? That creates space because if he, God's sake, if he's here, then this guy is going to have to move over as well. And that means that if we've got players on the inside, like, for the love of God, like Benji here, so we've got Benji right there. That means if we can get the ball to Benji, Benji's going to have space to run into and affect a pass. At the moment, nothing's getting through there. That's because they're not being made to there's no width being given. If they don't want to come out there and mark you, that's perfect, Oscar, because then you can dribble the ball in and you can do exactly what we want a winger to do. Cut it back in any number of different ways. Drive into the box, okay, from that position, drive into the box. If they foul, they every possibility of getting a penalty, but you can also affect a cross. So that's a really good it's a really good example of what I mean when I say create space, Oscar. That's what I mean. I want to go through to 1845. I really enjoyed this passage of play. In fact, I'll just roll through it. So you've got the ball now. So in this situation, and because this opportunity has presented itself, I'm going to show the benefit of having space. You're here, Oscar. Imagine if you're out here and you've taken your man with him. Okay, all of a sudden, young Benji's going to have a whole lot more space to drive into and create opportunities. You could throw a towel over all of us. God, have a look at this. If I get my little blue thing, what, what? We're all on a postage stamp. It's almost like we're playing an 8 on 8 rondo in a 20 by 20 meter box. Still no width. You're actually running into the middle of the pitch, Oscar. So anyway, I put that in there because I wanted to have that conversation. I'm going to roll it through here because Max gets the ball, bang, goes back to Zach. Zach's got the ball, and he goes, you know what? Back to Cal. To Major, who then goes out to the right-hand side. So we're recycling the ball. We're moving it really well. This is what I want to see, okay? Because notice now we've opened up some space. It would be even better if we had more width. Oscar, you can drag your man out here. Zach, you're right back, so you kind of got to mark this bloke. But it creates width, opens up gaps, and look, we almost exploit that gap. Bad touch there by Luke. Takes the ball away from him, and he can't really execute an effective shot. But that's what happens when we recycle the ball. Go have a crack on the other side. But the point of the story is you've still got possession of the ball. Going to go forward to 1930. This is another one specifically for Oscar when I'm talking about giving us width. I had to do these in the first half. Second half. Yeah, first half on this side of the pitch. So once again, I'm pretty sure that's you there. Like you're not even in your half of the pitch, which means we don't got no width. There you go, Mick, 18-yard line, dropping back. That's good. That's what we want, mate. Coming forward, you got to claim that. Well done. That's good. That's good goalkeeping, Mick. That's exactly what we want. If you do that consistently, we will concede a lot less goals. So 22.54. Okay, so we're breaking. Notice now we're running with the ball. It's almost like the Benny Hill show because Will's running away and he's taking three defenders with him. We've actually got pretty good numbers. Three of you are in a row here. Give it some width, like Zach. Get some width. Get some space. In your case, Will, Run out here, create some space because they're driving through the middle. You need to open them up. So create space, create room. Ball goes through. That's a really good pass, okay? And it's a really good run. Will lining it up on your right foot. Ooh, it's a decent save. This guy bounces in off the post. That's desperately unlucky. Like desperately unlucky. Really great effort. Um, Now we up, win again. Another shot. Keeper saves. Another shot goes in, and Luke is adjudged to be offside. I think he probably was offside if you look at the actual video, which is a shame. Would have been 1-1, but um, we're not playing at Albany Creek. Yeah, we're not playing at Excelsior. So proper club. So they've got linesmen. There you go. Makes a difference, doesn't it? Because I've no doubt that would have been a goal if we were playing at many other venues. But I'm not bitter, am I? No. So I'm going to go through to 23:58. This is just a bit of specific feedback for Francis. Probably not well timed because you're about to go on holidays. This is just an example of dwelling on the ball. I talked to you about not dwelling on the ball. So you've dwelled on the ball, bit too long, get shut down. Create the space, execute the pass. Don't mess about. We need to move the ball quickly. Okay, we're not a physical side, so we do need to move the ball very quickly as we can manage it, really. Another example in attack. So we've got three. Everybody's running away from the ball. So what could be useful here would be for someone to check their run, receive the ball. Oh, for fuck's sake. Receive the. This is probably a striker's job. Check the ball, receive it here, and distribute. Because we have options here for Max, who's steaming through the middle. Could be a penetrating ball, or could even just be a ball back to, I think it's Danny in this instance. And then we can attack from there. As it turns out, we go very direct. And as soon as it goes that direct, this big guy's going to cut it down. Goalkeeper. So could have been a promising attack. We need to play through teams. Okay, when we play through teams, we're dangerous. When we go long ball, it just fizzles out. Probably feels great, because you're chasing the ball, and it just feels good. You feel like a sheepdog running down the ball or whatever you feel. Um, we're now going to go forward to 55:02. We had a real purple patch at this stage in this stage of the game. There's a whole bunch of bits of really really good attacking play over the next 10 minutes. So we've got the ball. Good by Danny. Really good by Danny. Good use of the feet. Oh, falls over it a bit, but recycles it. Good. Good. Finds Luke. Luke manages to win it almost, but we win the ball. We retain the ball. Okay. So working on retaining the ball, playing through the lines, keeping possession, building passes. I do like to look at our stats and see passing strings because I don't see them nearly enough. Now, this is an example. Okay, Max is on the ball. This is a really good example of, see, their goalkeeper. Notice he's not on the 18-yard box. Okay, he's in his own half. I don't know whether Max recognised that or not. If their keeper's on the 18-yard on the edge of the 18-yard box, this pass is not on. But what I wanted to point out, it's a foot race at this point. Yeah, straight to the goalkeeper. So that pass needed to go, and we've talked about this before. That pass needed to really go to the edge of the area because the keeper's less likely to come for those, and then we can recover the ball. So, or be better weighted. But it is difficult to weight passes when you're at full stretch. So we'll now go to 57:24, but a good idea, and it's important to mix up your passing. So Okay, so we're attacking again. So in this situation, okay, Will, you've driven into the box. This is a really nice ball. Luke just wasn't awake to it. Love the way you passed in there and looked to link up rather than just slot a nothing ball into the box. Unfortunately, it breaks down from there, or does it? Yeah, it does. So they managed to clear it out from there. So 73-30. So we sort of fell away a little bit, fell out of the game a fraction. Game became a little bit end to end. There wasn't a hell of a lot to talk about in the 30, sort of the 10 minutes prior to this. So the note I've made in my notes on this, it's just a bit of composure. Not a bad effort by any measure. 76, I've got a note of good interplay. Okay, so we've won the ball. Nice little passes. Look at this. See, nice little passes playing through. See, really good. Really good. Probably push that pass a bit there, Luke. Luke Payne could have recycled it little bit better. I mean, you're a better footballer than that. This guy tries to chip Mick, realizes that he wasn't capable of pulling off that chip. We can let this roll through. No, we're not, because this is a goal kick. We're not talking about goal kicks in this section. Section 78-50. So this particular section is designing. See, if we move the ball well, move it around, we'll create chances. So all we've done there is move the ball around. Now, look, Cal's ended up getting squeezed out there. Probably took a little bit too long on the ball, but to be fair, he didn't have a lot of time. Um, if you move the ball around, you will create chances because you move defenders around, especially if you can do that with width, then you open teams up because you create space. I do, I do have to go to 87-19 because this was, I enjoyed this. It was kind of funny. Okay, on the ball, passes it. Great pass by Luke. Finds Danny. And Danny, come on, Danny. Oh, yeah, this is their goal. This wasn't funny. We've already covered that. Where is it? I need to find it. I need to find it now. I've brought you this far. Danny on the ball in attack, doing really well, taking him on, and just falls over the ball. I was so very excited at that point, and he fell over. Anyway, we carry on with the tactical analysis. Okay, moving on. Um, the front press. I thought that the front press functioned quite well. The Lions team was determined to play out from the back, which is something I'm determined to get us doing because that's how modern football's played, and you're not going to learn unless you do it. And yes, it will cost you goals. It cost us at least one goal today trying to play out from the back, um, but that was against a very aggressive aggressive pressing team. But in terms of our press, um, I felt it's really showing. It's really coming along. Everybody's whether it's Caitlin leading it, whether it's Will leading it, it's being well led. The left and right wing are contributing to it, and the cams are starting to step forward to prevent the defenders from passing through our press into midfield. So all that's coming across really well. There were numerous press wins. Anytime you get a press win, it's a transition Okay, and a transition of possession is a great opportunity to score because defenders can be out of position and they can get caught out. As I always highlight, deny, delay, dictate, defend. We want to dictate the direction that they go. Okay, and we want them to do it slowly. We try to delay them, and we can do that by denying them the opportunity to go where they want to on the pitch. In terms of game management, I believe we have to focus on our strengths, and our strengths are playing through oppositions, okay, and playing as a team. But specifically, when we play as a team, we need to move the ball quickly. We need to be a passing team because we're not going to be a long ball team. We're not going to be a physical team, so we need to be a passing team. I think we clearly need to improve our passing out from the back because it was found wanting, and we will need to sort that out because we have Taringa on Sunday, and they are similarly a good pressing team. But finally, the overwhelming message I'd like to deliver from this match review is that there were many positives to come out of that attack. I was really happy with the football that we played for large segments of that game. I felt we dominated large segments of that game. In our first goal, we got caught out, basically an error under pressure, trying to play out from the back. That will happen. There's no point anyone beating themselves up over it. You will get those. You will get those. You'll. Long story short, if you're going to start to learn to play out from the back, you are going to have accidents happen, and you will concede goals from it. That's just part and parcel of learning. It's very frustrating when it happens, but that is part and parcel of it. What we have to do is honestly analyze what happened and then put in place steps to prevent it from happening again. We were caught out with our centre back marking on, in my opinion, two occasions. The second and third goal. We can work on that. It was centre back. It was centre back marking, as in allowing the attacking player to get goal side, and also too much space between the centre backs. All right, we can work on that also. I stress they weren't massive errors, but we got caught out because, honestly, we gave them the time and space to execute a pass, which feeds into another bit of feedback, which is you cannot let attackers turn. Okay, we've got to be all over them to prevent the striker turning, looking ahead, and executing passes. Look, we have a good session tomorrow where we can execute some of the curriculum and then also do some preparation for what we're planning to do on Sunday. So I will look forward to seeing you then.